Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today I would like to share some of my experience related to learning English language and practicing it as well, because practice plays a key role, as you see, more than the theory actually. A lot of people keep asking me a question, how I managed to get 8.5 overall at the IELTS exam. And I cannot clearly answer this question for the most part, because I find it challenging a little bit, because this is chiefly due to the amount of practice I have done during my learning English. For this reason, I would go with practical knowledge rather than theoretical. But of course, you should spend enough time before practicing on theory as well. So let me start with speaking, because a lot of people ask me questions related to it. I know that for many of you guys, speaking is considered something that is unachievable. There are so many factors that affect it. You know that speaking exam in IELTS is divided into 6 subcategories. You have to know how to pronounce well, and you should be enough fluent in the language. You should possess a variety of grammatical structures, and you should know how to use specifically words. You should have enough lexical arsenal, let's say. But there's also some, psychological factors that indeed affect you. I would start with being confident. I've met a lot of people who have enough practice and knowledge of English language. I mean, if you compare their band score, partially in terms of listening, reading, writing, you see that they have indeed a high mark, which is, they meet the standards of high scorers, let's say. But you get surprised that every time seeing that their speaking band score is kind of not low, but doesn't meet with the band scores of the other parts. I've had some experience talking to these very guys, and I've realized that what they lack is confidence, and at the same time they do not believe in their power. If you want to get to know a language, get to use it fully with full potential you have and it has, you should first of all be confident about your abilities. That is, you know that you have learned enough. You've learned every kind of topic, grammatical topic related to the language. And you know that you've read a lot of books and probably articles, whatever that is helpful in order to enhance your vocab level as well. But what makes you, what prevents you from getting a high mark is your confidence. You don't believe in yourselves. You restrain yourself from talking. You don't open up to your examiner. You don't open up to anyone, basically. You know that people are divided into 2 types in terms of their personality: introverted people, extroverted ones. Being introverted is not a bad thing. I don't consider myself open-minded that much as well. But I know my priorities, so should you. I know when I have to open up to someone. The perfect timing for it, you should realize it. You should know the value of the moment. Once you clearly remind yourself how valuable that time, exact moment of your life is, probably you are not going to lose your mind, probably you are not going to lose your confidence and believe in yourselves. So, the first time I passed the speaking exam, I've had 3 exams so far, IELTS exam. The first time my overall band score was pretty high, and it was around 5 years ago, and I haven't change it in terms of my English ability, because I've been learning English for more than 10 years basically. But at that moment, I lost myself exactly at the speaking exam. You know, because I used to be really closeted and I never believed in my abilities in terms of, not just in terms of something scientific, something that is theoretical, because during exams I would get even maximum scores, 100 out of 100, just because I didn't have any kind of human interaction. I would be confident enough in my abilities. But when it came to talking to someone and showing my potential to someone else, opening up to someone, I would just consider it as something that is unachievable. You should take it easy. You should just believe in everything. Just think that impossible is possible. I know that this sounds kind of basic, but anyways, if you just think about anything that you try to achieve, any goal, as something realistic, it becomes a mere plan to you. Maybe I sound as if I know it all, but it's true. I've experienced it myself. If you compare my first band score of speaking, it used to be 6 out of 9, and then the second and third times I got 8.5. I mean, it's almost maximum score, and you just cannot understand how much it took me to work on myself to get it, because I didn't have any changes when it came to writing, reading, listening, and all of them had just a mere alteration. But when it came to speaking, it took me so much effort, not just effort of English language, of learning something that is scientific or whatever, but it was like a battle inside. It was my battle with myself, because I never believed enough in my ability to communicate. You know that communication is a key factor if you want to achieve anything in this life. It doesn't just belong to learning any kind of language, but overall in your life experience, your communicative abilities are going to be going to have a higher price rather than your ability to solve any kind of problems or equation, whatever, something scientific or something that is related to your practice. If you don't know how to deal with people, how to understand people, how to be open to people, it's going to be hard for you to achieve anything in this life. Russian people has a proverb that says, a person needs a person. It means that it's impossible to live a life being closeted and being restrained from talking to people enough and showing yourself, your inner actual beautiful self to people. And also when it comes to speaking with someone else, especially in a foreign language, I would never advise something that is advised by a majority of people who experience learning a language and practicing it in real life. I would never advise you guys to try to copy someone else. I've seen a bunch of guys who want to just take an example of some celebrity, some famous person, and just become a pattern of them, just copy every basic thing they do, every gesture they have, every manner of speech they make. I don't think that it's a good way to show your potential, because in order to be the best, you should be the best version of yourself, not someone else. Of course, you can take some habits from someone else, but let it be natural. Say you have a role model, of course you're going to learn from someone more than any other person if you want to learn a language. But it doesn't mean that you should blindly copy this person. On the other hand, if you just naturally habituate yourself to just being like this person, it's fine. It means that it happened unconsciously inside your mind. So that is I mean that the examiners at the IELTS exam and any kind of exam basically, in life exams, life experience, they are not simple. They are great psychologists and they understand very well when someone is pretending to be what they are not actually, and when someone is being indeed sincere and showing themselves to them. And you know that speaking exam is considered something subjective, it's not objective. I know there are like a lot of criteria regarding the exam, but anyways, your examiner is a person. It's a human, and human factor plays a main role here. They should see you, and then they decide whether they like you or not. They like you, you get a good mark. They don't, then you lose it. Because if you try to be an open-minded person, if you try to be natural and just act the way you are, be confident enough without being overly confident, of course, in that case everything is going to be fine, I think. This person is not a robot. They have a soul, they understand you, and they try to meet up your expectations as well. But in case you don't try to befriend them, I mean become their friend, and without communication, only with eye contact, you show them how desperate you are to make a contact with them, to make friends with them in a way. In that case, I think it's going to be excellent for you. It makes your examiner really kind of relieved. It makes you relieved. And as a result, the tension between you two is lost, and the exam is going to seem like something that is a part of your routine. Nothing that is nothing like exam actually. It doesn't have to be necessarily an IELTS exam. Anytime you have any kind of serious meeting, anytime you pass any kind of exam, I mean, which requires human contact, you guys should be relaxed. Not in a way that you should be careless, but you should not take it too deep. Just don't be too serious about it. Just be kind of cheerful, positive, accepting, understanding. Just make it easy for yourself and the person who is talking to you. Being awkward is not a choice, I know that. Sometimes people just cannot help their nerves. But if you are sure that you've made enough effort, you've tried enough to reach the level at which you consider yourself to be, it means that there is nothing to be worried about. So you can just relax. Everything is left behind you, and you can just take it easy. There's no help from being nervous at all, I mean. Also, when it comes to the actual exam, listening, reading, writing, again, you should not be nervous, and you should concentrate. I mean, you are doing, say, it starts with a listening test. If you lose if you lose a mark, you realize that you're not managing well. Just don't be stressed, don't be worried. I mean, at least you have a chance to repass, and sometimes you don't get to have a chance in some life occasions. But this is just an exam. It means that you don't lose anything. You don't lose it forever. That's why it's fine if you lose some marks, and it's fine for you. Just don't lose belief in yourselves. And when it comes to reading, I would just advise to be attentive to small details, because when you deal with reading, you don't get to have like a lot of time. You only have 1 hour to deal with 3 passages, so you just have to go from the questions, and if you see that some question is taking you too much to deal with, just leave it and start doing the next one, because time management is a key in reading. You don't get back your time. That's why you should know exactly how to manage your time wisely. That's why the more questions you deal with, the higher band score you get. That's why don't spend too much time on something that is challenging you. I mean, getting somewhat lower band score is better than getting nothing. That's why don't lose your precious time. And remember, always remember that you're going to have like hundreds of chances to repass the exam again. It's fine. And when it comes to writing, I would advise to when it comes to task 1, just know your main ideas, and of course start with this one, because as far as I understand, I think that task 1 is easier to get a band score for, because you know that opinion plays a huge role in task 2. This means that the examiner, I don't know, whoever is going to check your essay, they are going to be critical about your opinion. So as all of you, if you are familiar with IELTS writing, you know that task 1 does not require any opinion. That's why it means that once you've already met their criteria for task 1, say you've explained it, something that they've provided, it's fine, you can get the maximum band score. If not a maximum band score, then just a little bit less than it. But by this I mean that you always make a mistake, most of you, focusing too much on task 2. It's better to deal with the task 1 question, and this way you put yourself in a safety zone. In a way, you get 2 band score or just a little bit more. But anyways, if you sum up 2 tasks, then you are going to get a decent mark at least. I would never risk starting with task 2 and wasting my whole time on it. That's why I've given you some basic advice. If you want me to share much more experience with you, feel free to ask, and I will be really happy to provide it for you. Thank you for your attention. I think that is it for today, and I was really happy to share my experience with you.